Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Ashraf, and for today, we'll be conducting a forum regarding the topic of the failure and the damage of Toyota. So before I start, I would like to introduce our four panels for today: ZUHAIDA, NABIHA, NAJIHAH, and AINA. So I would like to ask ZUHAIDA, what is the damage and failure caused by Toyota?
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is ZUHAIDA binti ZAINUDDEN. Firstly, I want to say thank you, Ashraf, for the good question. So my answer for that question is the first is in a series of widely publicized Toyota automobiles recalls in the United States caught consumers off guard in October 2009. Toyota issued a recall of 3.8 million cars in the United States, citing a possible problem with improperly positioned or inappropriate floor mats under the driver's car seat that might lead to uncontrolled accelerations in a variety of models. The recall was prompted by reports of a catastrophic collision in California in which a Lexus sedan's accelerator became stuck. And the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration pressed Toyota to recall more vehicles and models after receiving more reports of accidental acceleration caused by sticky gas pedals. Despite Toyota's lengthy history of producing their dependable low defect automobiles, media stories and their overall timeliness often have a significant impact on consumers' views of quality. The popular perceptions may differ from objective measurements. In the instance of Toyota, there were clear signs that the company's product quality had deteriorated in recent years. Furthermore, the improvement happens at a time when several of Toyota competitors, including as Ford, Chevrolet, and Hyundai, were developing increasingly superior vehicles. After reports of unintended accelerations in multiple cars, Toyota issued the recalls, the first two with the help of the US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. On November 2, 2009, the first recall was issued to address the possibility of an improper or out-of-place front driver side floor mat intruding into the foot pedal well, causing the pedal entrapment. The second recall began on January 21, 2010, after it was discovered that some crashes were not caused by a floor mat invention. This problem, dubbed sticking accelerator pedal by Toyota, was found as a probable mechanical sticking of the accelerator pedal, resulting in unintended accelerations. Toyota had issued recalls for about 5.2 million cars due to pedal entrapment or recalled as floor mat issues, and additional 2.3 million vehicles due to accelerator pedal issues as of January 28. A total of 1.7 million automobiles are affected by both. Certain Lexus and Pontiac automobiles that were connected to the problem were also affected. Toyota expanded the recall the next day to cover 1.8 million cars in Europe and 75,000 in China. Toyota also had issued recalls for about 5.2 million cars due to pedal entrapment or flat floor mat issues, and additional 2.3 million vehicles due to accelerator pedals issues as of January 28, 2010. A total of 1.7 million automobiles are affected. Certain Lexus automobiles that were connected to the problem were also affected. Toyota expanded the recall the next day to cover 1.8 million cars in Europe. Then the NHTSA, in partnership with NASA, revealed its finding into the Toyota drive-by-wire throttle system study on February 8, 2011. After a 10 months investigation, NASA and NHTSA researchers discovered no electrical flaws in Toyota automobiles. The majority of the events were determined to be caused by driver mistakes or pedal misapplications. So my opinion is that Toyota faults were not in mechanical, were in mechanical but not in electrical. So, but however, October 24, 2013, a jury concluded in favor of Toyota, finding that unplanned accelerations might have been caused by flaws in drive-by-wire throttle technology, also known as the Electronic Throttle Control System, ECTS. The Barr Group's Michael Barr testified that NASA was unable to finish its study of Toyota ETCS, that Toyota did not follow best practices for real-time life-critical software, and that a single bit flip induced by cosmic rays might cause unintended accelerations. Furthermore, the real-time operating system's runtime stack was insufficient, and it was conceivable for the stack to grow large enough to override data, causing an intentional acceleration. As a consequence, Toyota and the plaintiff have begun negotiating a settlement. That's all for me. Thank you.
Alright, thank you for the sharing. Moving on, let's discuss about the 8 HR processes that contributed to Toyota's downfall. I would like to call upon NABIHA on this matter.
Hi, I'm NABIHA, and I will put recommendation on the 8 HR processes that contributed to Toyota's downfall. So the first one is rewards and recognition. Rewarding system would also ensure that any complaint encountered by employees at Toyota would be dealt with immediately and be communicated to the concerned people for corrective actions to be taken. So since the recalling of 8 of the Toyota models in 2010 involved an allegation that leaders knew about the defects but refrained from taking corrective measures, so enhancing reward system and communication system would ensure a positive behavior that would curb out the negative reinforcement and ignorance of serious issues like this to occur again. The second one is training. Toyota's well-known 4-step cycle is as follow: plan, check, act. So managers should focus on the latter 2 steps, which are follow up on the results, to make sure that the strategy is being carried out as planned and collect feedback on how the plan can be improved. So then act standardized improvement, plan for continuous improvement, and create mechanisms to ensure that the progress is maintained. So to avoid recurrence of such errors, HR should test and audit all processes on a regular basis. The third one is hiring. To create a list of key interview questions, aptitude tests, employment simulations, and reference checks, candidates' verbal seasoning, numerical ability, abstract reasoning, critical speed, and accuracy, and measuring their strengths and shortcomings can all be validated via aptitude tests. So for example, like job simulation. Job simulation is to see if candidates are capable of performing in cutting-edge working planning practices such as enterprise forecasting and skills gap scenario planning. So a minimum of 3 references are checked and questions about the candidates are asked. So employers will be able to identify and reject people who are not qualified for the position. Next is the performance management process. The Toyota production system coordinates manufacturing and logistics as well as customer and supplier interaction. So if correctly implemented, this technique could have rescued Toyota from the infamous recall. So encourages continuous improvement and promotes integration among all stakeholders while discouraging resource waste. So appropriate processes that yield appropriate outcomes is the HR procedures and organizational goals must be in sync. In an international environment, it might be quite difficult, but it is also very important. So performance appraisal and monitoring should be a never-ending process to guarantee that personnel stay on track. Next is the corporate culture, adapting public relation technique to a more American approach. For me, a premium should be placed on improving communication between headquarters and regional offices. So adding new practices to the Toyota way, including a faster response to customer wants and complaints. Senior management must assess the culture to ensure that it is one of high trust, effective communication, and rewards for strong performance. The fifth one is leadership development and succession. For me, leaders may only offer value by assisting those who are actively contributing to the process. Hence, they are assigned at the bottom of the pyramid. This is in contrast to a traditional top-down organization in which the capacity and imagination of a few top leaders is limited. The next one is retention. Employee retention management entails taking intentional steps to keep employees engaged and focused so they choose to stay on the job and contribute fully to the company's success. So a robust employee retention program can help you attract and keep important personnel while also lowering turnover and its associated expenses. So all of these factors contribute to a company's productivity and overall success. So it is more cost effective to keep a good employee than to find, train, and orient a new one of the same caliber. Last but not least is a risk assessment. Toyota's Human Resources Department is significantly more crucial than simply processing people as asset flows. So Toyota considers the way team members are developed to be a critical competitive competency. TPS tools are intended to create problems for the general population to address, ultimately strengthening the system. So these are all my recommendations to the 8 HR processes that contributed to Toyota downfall. That's all from me. Thank you.
Alright, now as we all know, Toyota's troubles are the consequences of a company-wide succession of blunders that are all tied up to one another rather than a single individual committing an isolated mistake. These mistakes include mistakes such as customer service, government relations, vendor management, and public relations were all engaged. But it is impossible not to blame Toyota's demise on systematic management failure. Now, what can we learn from Toyota's issue?
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I am FATIHATUL NAJIHAH binti ZULKIFLI. Thank you to ASHRAF for allowing me to continue this discussion. So, the lesson that we can learn from Toyota is that failure system and structure could result a downfall in development of their employees. And also, Toyota Human Resource should provide a reward to their employees that will train and provide a good performance. This will be a good motivation towards the employees to perform better for the company. The failure of Toyota management in making decision could be a lesson for Toyota. They should never separate the management from their operations, as the management of Toyota can monitor and alert on the serious problem that's happening in external or internal. So besides that, a weak human resource management in Toyota also could result a huge problem for Toyota. So Toyota should improve their management by recruit and train the employees that are able to perform better in doing their work, and also avoid unnecessary mistakes that could result in the failure of the company. The human resource of Toyota should be responsible to develop a leadership and strong decision-making skills to Toyota employees that could promote leaders who could confront with problems and make the difficult decisions. Lastly, Toyota should be honest with the people. For instance, during the mechanical failures that exist in Toyota, the failures was discovered earlier, but there was no action taken by the Toyota to fix the problem. So the next is Toyota could learn, or they should never underestimate the feedback from the users, because the feedback should have been taken, the issue of quality management system, seriously in terms of operation and made it simple to handle. Instead, Toyota should also take safety and risk seriously towards their users, to reduce the rate of road accidents from using their vehicles. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Very well. Now, last but not least, I would like to ask our final panel. Let's say if you had the opportunity to be in a position as HR expertise at Proton, what would you recommend to the management in order to improve the working culture at Proton, based on the issues faced by Toyota.
Thank you to our moderator for asking me the question. My name, NURUL SYADIRAH Abdul RAZAK. Now I will answer the question. According to the case study, the damage that occurred at Toyota was most probably triggered by Proton. I, as the human resource expertise at Proton, I would want to give several suggestions to the management to improve working culture based on failure at Toyota. The first suggestion is customer feedback. Customer feedback should be taken seriously, and improvement plans based on customer satisfaction surveys should be created. Moving on to the next point. Customer feedback should also be incorporated into the quality process and product development. Next is I want to suggest is Toyota needs to hire the right people. It is important to hire the right people in order to ensure that they are able to solve future difficulties. One of the methods is to hire someone with a lot of experience. They would not only be able to complete the task, but they will also save money on training. Moreover, Proton needs to improve the variety of ways for employees to make a complete or report, as well as the implementation of a performance management system. To the next point, as a Proton human resource expertise, I can advise management on how to improve the company's working culture is a strong people orientation values people when making decisions and things that efficiency and quality drive organizational success and productivity. Therefore, no firm should take its quality processes and system for granted. Even the greatest Toyota might fail if not managed within a strong quality management system. So, that's all from me.
Thank you for the amazing sharing by our great panels. I guess this is all from us for now. Thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum.